Prince Harry is kind of petrified of her and petrified of losing her. Do you know that kind of syndrome people get into?
Breaking right now, the respected royal author Hugo Vickers has revealed that Prince Harry is not only petrified of her, like so many others, by the way, every member of staff who's seen her bullying ways, but he's also petrified of losing her, which could explain the sorry state he finds himself in, excusing the inexcusable when, for example, it comes to pimping out the children to sell her scam jam when he claims that social media is the most dangerous place in the world for children. It could explain a lot. I have no sympathy, to be honest. The guy was warned, but perhaps it is an explanation. We're going to get analysis in just one moment from our royal mastermind, Angela Levin. She is Prince Harry's biographer, who spent obviously about, well, a good couple of years following the guy around. So she knows him well. But first, let's have a look at what Hugo Vickers actually had to say about this.
Other people who are much better at telling you these things, there are other people who are better at doing cookery programs, there are other people who are better at advising how to found a business. I mean, they're sort of latching on to things. Well, she is in particular. And, it's just hard to see where it's going. I mean, I hate to say it, but my feeling at the end of the day is that Prince Harry is kind of petrified of her and petrified of losing her. Do you know that kind of syndrome people get into? See if I'm right.
No, I think it's been phrased that way. That I think there was an article in the United States that said that she's just awful, but he's an enabler, and it's almost like he's aware, but he can't actually get out.
Angela Levin, is Hugo Vickers right? Do you believe that Prince Harry is not only petrified of Meghan Markle, he's also petrified of losing her?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's been going on actually before they even got engaged. I remember when I went to see him at the palace and one of his aides said, look, be very careful. He's in a mood today that he thinks she's going to drop him. So he's beside himself. So don't mention it. Be very careful. Otherwise, he'll just shout and you'll have to leave. Okay, and you get used to that, so I didn't mention it. And then he mentioned her a bit later. You have to have these techniques, don't you, as a journalist? I think
but that sounds like emotional manipulation, doesn't it, by Meghan from the very early days?
Yeah, well, I think that, and I will say something now that is pretty dangerous, but what I feel. You'll have to unlock me out of prison, actually. And I think that when she said that she wanted to kill herself because she was so unhappy and it was so awful, I think that that was what she wanted to do to get Harry out. I don't believe that that's what she was doing. I think it was something that she said, that she knew he would help her. Because she went to the, I can't remember where it was anyway, and she dressed and she was beautifully dressed. Now, if you actually
to the Royal Albert Hall, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. But if you are so depressed, you can't go, you can't get out of bed, you can't do anything. You can't sort of put makeup on and make sure you look lovely and then go there and be smiling at everyone. Even if she's an actress, you can't do that. But I think that she does sort of shriek and say, what are you doing? You're making my life so terrible. She's one of those women, and that's how they keep their man dangling. And I think that that's been part of Meghan. And you can see that because if she went to the Invictus Games, she was kissing him and loving him and putting her neck in his and doing all those things. And then he disappeared because she didn't want him around for several weeks because she wanted to do her cooking. Now, I love you, I don't love you, get out of here, stay with me. I mean, she said at the podcast that we got to do at the beginning of the week that she's always going to stay with him and she loves him and he's foxy but lovely and he wants to do everything he can to look after me. But it's never that what she's going to do for him Meghan, it's for Meghan. And you can see that he's really lost. He can't find a job. He hasn't got friends. And he's just there to be an assistant and to follow her if she's going anywhere. That's what I feel. And I'll be in trouble, but you'll have to help me out.
Angela, also, there has been odd behaviour from Prince Harry over the past week because, of course, he turns up to this Legends of Aviation event and Kurt Russell says on stage, unfortunately, living legend Harry has to leave early tonight. Who else will pick the berries for his wife's raspberry soup? Which is obviously quite a diss, given we know what's going on. But then in the picture, and you'll see the commentator USA pick this up, they asked, hey, Harry, is that a shiner? So, I mean, I'm obviously not suggesting we know at all if he did have a shiner or if he wasn't well. But it was interesting, wasn't it? Because he didn't feel like he was on good form. You know him pretty well. You can pick things up. And remember, Angela, the day before he'd been at that Time 100 event as sort of Meghan's bag carrier. And there's that video of when they get out the car together and she just charges ahead and shows him absolutely no respect, which you meant to do if you're a member of the royal family, and you could see
couldn't
the
have been there. He
misery in
didn't,
his
you know,
face.
it looked as if he wasn't there, wasn't it? She just carried on walking through. Yeah.
So do you think
Well,
there's something going on?
he could have fallen over.
Of
He
course,
could
yeah,
have
of course.
had a fight with anybody. So I think on that one, I don't have any evidence. But what you do see is that he was wounded, but we don't know who or
No,
why.
exactly. We
But
don't.
that makes him very miserable.
Of
And
course,
he didn't
and that
feel.
is understandable, of course, if you've had a fall or anything like that. Now, the criticism from the US, Angela, though, as a result of this latest glut of publicity is very interesting to me because Dana Lash, the right-wing American commentator, doesn't usually talk about this type of thing at all, right? She's not big and into the royal family or sort of pop culture stories at all. But on her most recent podcast, she spoke about Meghan and Harry because she claims, and I agree with her actually, that they now represent grifter culture. Watch this.
This is sort of symbolic of the grifter culture. That ginger who came over here and is trying to be Prince of Montecito. What's his face? Harry Ginger. And then his wife, who was on that game show. She had like a D-list role on some Canadian sitcom. And I don't know, was she on like one season? I don't know. Nobody ever watched it. Nobody knew who she was until she started dating the spare, right, from the UK. So that Meghan Markle lady, she is doing a cooking show on Netflix, and I only watched 5 seconds of it, and I thought she was going to cut her wrist by trying to zest a lemon. This girl has never been in the kitchen in her life. She has no idea how to do basic things. You can look, when somebody's chopping up vegetables, or if they're doing basic things, you can tell if they've cooked or not. I mean, she was just like with the zester using this. I was dying. I was like, she's going to cut herself.
It's interesting, isn't it, hearing from Dana Lash on this?
Yes, but it's good for somebody like that will talk out because a lot of us, we don't, we're either so used to it or we leave it alone. But, I do a fair bit of cooking, but you do see if somebody's used to doing it by their speed and the way they use their hands and how they use the cutlery they're doing. But she has got no idea about it. You can just tell that. I agree with her. She's got no experience. And also with her hair hanging down, and the one with Lilibet, who was right next to her, where she was boiling some strawberries. And I thought, oh no, if she turns her head, she can get the head in the boiling water. I mean, I just felt the hair in the boiling water. I just felt, you've got to be very careful. You've got to make sure that anyone can do that, make a round of fruit because there's nothing to do. Somebody else would cut it for her. She could just put it in place. But she really hasn't got a clue. And I think also that she doesn't really understand about children either, because in the chats that she's had lately, she talks in a ridiculous way, like saving several lines of what she wants the children to know when they're 18 and or 16 even. But, can you imagine a teenager wanting to know what a mother thought of them when they were sort of 3? It doesn't make any sense. And I think that's exactly the same with cooking, that she can say things and pretending she's so working to the end, but actually it's all she doesn't know anything, but she wanted to do this and earn money out of it. Netflix must be very disappointed. But I do feel that some of these things that she wants to do it because then she can say to Netflix, well, look at me. I'm still on the front pages. People are still wanting to see what I'm doing. Doesn't matter if they don't like it. Doesn't matter if they don't like me for it. But look, they're looking. You're doing very well. Let's carry on. I think that's quite in her head.
Angela, Dana Bash also spoke about, I know it's your favourite topic too, Angela, the flower sprinkles. Watch this. But first, the reason you're watching this show is that it's becoming increasingly difficult to trust mainstream media or the so-called fact checkers who claim to determine which facts are true. And for good reason, actually, given the ongoing debates over free speech, the controversy surrounding Brexit, and how Trump and other anti-establishment politicians are portrayed. But I have the solution. It's called Ground News, and it's the best way to stay informed and cut through media bias and manipulative narratives so you can get the facts for yourself. It's been a game changer for a news junkie like me, and you can see for yourself at ground.news/outspoken. Now let me show you this incredible website and app. I have the app on my phone. I love it. Let me show you it in action. So let's look at the recent landmark decision by the UK Supreme Court that ruled women can only be biological adult human females, reversing years of gender extremism. You can see clearly in one place that over 350 sources around the world are covering this story. But what Ground News does is instantly show how it's being covered, broken down by whether the organisations lean to the left or the right. This is called the bias distribution chart. Then if you scroll down, what you can do is see every headline about the story, but you get to see it linked to the political bias and the ownership of the publication. So in this case, we can see very clearly for ourselves, the Daily Wire from the right cover the case very accurately. They use the headline, UK Supreme Court rules trans-identifying men are not women. Spiked Online declared women exist, get over it. And the Telegraph actually went in depth to look at the other disgraced famous faces who declared trans women are women. Total contrast from the media on the left, the MSM on the left. Like The National in Scotland said the result was only a victory for gender-critical feminists. The Canary, based in the UK, ran this clearly ludicrous headline, victory for the far right, as Supreme Court rolls back trans women's rights by 2 decades. So believing in biological reality, folks, now makes you a member of the far right. Nuts. My favourite feature, though, of Ground News is the blind spot feed. Now, what this does is service upwards of 20 stories daily that receive the majority of coverage from one side of the political spectrum. If you love the news like I do, the blind spot feed is the best way to get a balanced perspective on what is happening. So go to ground.news/outspoken or scan the QR code if you are watching on YouTube or Rumble. Subscribe today and check this out. You get 40% off the same Vantage plan that I use for unlimited access. So that's ground.news/outspoken. But now back to the show.
She didn't make the Times list of cool people, but she did get invited there because her agency probably bought her access. I have to play this. This is one of the goofiest things ever. Palate cleanser. Go ahead, Steve. Kill us.
All things to be talking about for Time 100. Let's talk about flower sprinkles. Because I think it speaks to the tiny moments of joy that are so effortless and just create a little bit of magic that we're all craving.
What in the hell word salad is this?
Tiny little flower petals that are dried. I started putting them on salads. I started putting them on scrambled eggs. it didn't actually matter on a yogurt parfait.
I feel like she's selling me a
The
used
level
car.
of charm that you find people have when they see these tiny little dried petals is something I can't fully wrap my head around, but I appreciate that there is a love for
People who have this sort of elocution are so incredibly fake. So I'm elevating it by putting dried flower petals on all of my food. And just, it adds a little bit of magic. It elevates things.
I know you're with her on the flower
Very
sprinkles,
good,
aren't
isn't
you?
it? She's got it quite right, the whole mood. Well, my feeling on that one is that it's not selling. And so she's making up all this absolute rubbish, a little bit of magic. Tell me, dried up bits of flowers. I can't believe what she's saying. They won't. That's people just don't want to do that. You go, yeah, what's that? Yak out. But I think she's trying to make sure that she sells loads of it, and actually people might not have bought it. So this would be a way of trying to sell it herself.
And Angela, I think Dana Lash maybe the best moment was when she actually, there's a little bit where she goes into the fashion. And I know, I
love that bit.
Yeah, I'm not a fashion guy, but a lot of
I
people were
know,
talking
but even
about this.
you could do that very easily. You could comment on that.
And
It's
then
so
also,
obviously awful.
yeah, I know. Well, Dana goes into that, but then, and this is what I was much more interested, she talks about Meghan's visit to Uvalde, remember, after the school shooting. Watch.
Short-waisted, you don't wear high-waisted pants, and you don't wear grandma's drapes as trousers. It's too long. It's too wide-legged. It emphasizes the wrinkles. It drags the ground to the point where your pants are dirty. Please, dear heavens, if you want to elevate something, elevate your influence so that you don't have to buy off the rack and designers will give you their stuff so you don't have to walk out looking like a Temu version of Kate Middleton. Please, dear heavens. Okay, I'm done. I got it out of my system. You had no idea what was happening there, did you? Because you're a man, rightfully so.
No.
You just can't wear big baggy stuff like that. I mean, the jacket was baggy, the shirt was baggy. Everything can't be baggy. Pick one thing. I don't get it. But it's just grifterism.
She's not on the list. Why was she there?
Oh, because her agency probably bought her access. Probably Netflix. They're desperate and promoting that boondoggle that they call a cooking show, where she makes somebody got a chemical burns from her homemade salt scrub. I mean, it's the stupidest stuff ever. People are broke and she's like, let's make candles. Shut up. Let's be able to afford eggs. Not everybody was lucky and had a daddy that worked in Hollywood that paid for your schooling and paid for you to have access to all of this. And then you consider marrying above your station to be female empowerment while also pretending to be Duchess in a country that does not recognize nor give a rat's ass for such titles. Spare me. Good heavens. She's the one who chartered a private plane to fly down in Texas when they had the school shooting and have a camera crew videotape her laying flowers. And then she went back. A stunt. Unbelievable. Ugh.
That is interesting, isn't it, Angela? Just to see.
She's brilliant. I mean, she's got it all together. And one line after the other, she actually sees all the flaws. And I don't mean just flaws because she can't do anything else. I mean, we've all got flaws, but I think she's got such huge flaws. She does such awful things that's why she's so unpopular. Absolutely. People can't stand it. Okay, one thing, but it's one thing after the other that her reasoning to doing something is so appalling, so negative, so just about her that people just don't want to know. I've had a couple of emails saying, why can't you stop about talking about, we can't stand her. I'm in Canada. There's somebody else who's also in Canada. She makes me sick. But you see, you are drawn to the horror of it. And that, in a way, makes her right about with Netflix that people cannot bear it. People cannot bear her, but they can say to their friends, did you see? Not again. Can you believe what she's doing this time? How she's cunning. It's cunning.
Angela, it was really interesting too seeing Billy Bush. Now, for folk who don't know about Billy Bush, he's a very mainstream guy. He was Extra, Access Hollywood, The Today Show. The poor guy, actually. I mean, the Billy Bush story is fascinating. He's the poor guy who was cancelled because he had the conversation with Donald Trump before the election in 2016, where Donald Trump said some spicy things, not realizing that he was being recorded, and then it was leaked. And Billy Bush lost his job for some reason because he was the guy who was chatting with Billy Bush. Anyway, he has now launched his own show called Hot Mics. And I really enjoyed his take too, because this is a much more mainstream take on why that Meghan Markle interview with Jamie Kern Lima, I think that's her name, has just been a disaster. Watch this.
Did Meghan Markle go on her friend's podcast because she has a new policy of softball questions only? Or she knew her friend would take the brunt of the beatdown in the comment section?
And I think so many people also have this question for you is, Meghan, how are you? And are you okay?
That's so kind. I am. I'm better than okay. How are you?
I know you always make it about me. Today, which by the way, I just have to say, you are the most generous friend. You show up for your friends. Today, I just get to talk about you, which I'm excited about. But how are you doing? There's so much going on.
Where have I seen you before, girl?
I'm going to do a terrific show today, and I'm going to help people because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. Hello.
If that woman has a daily affirmations app, I'm in.
And see, what's interesting to me about this Angela Levin is, look, people who watch our show are pretty engaged on the whole with the royal family, and they know the story, they know the background. But what's so interesting about this Jamie Kern Lima interview is that it was so bad, Angela. It's completely translated and gone huge in America for all the wrong reasons. Stephen Crowder's been talking about it, and I think we can show you the stats as we go on, Angela, but the dislikes on this video are like off the scale. I mean, one of our videos, Angela, usually, and I'm so grateful, by the way, please do hit like if you're watching us right now, because it really, really does help with YouTube and the algorithm and everything. And most of our videos, Angela, get about 99% likes, which is just amazing and extraordinary. Look at this, Angela. This video got, is it 78% dislikes? So even the people who are watching it, and by the way, many more people actually watched, Angela, this is really interesting to know, many more people watched our analysis, the analysis that we did earlier in the week with myself and you and Samantha Markle. More people have watched our analysis than have watched the interview itself, but the people who are watching the interview are not liking it.
How interesting. Yeah. Well, we have to carry on with what we're doing, won't we? But I think this discussion, Meghan and her friend, is just too awful for words. And very near the beginning, she was asked if she'd like to sew, and she said, I so wanted to do that, but I'm so busy. Okay, can't do it, leave it. So don't worry about it. But she took this as a sort of, she's so important and so rushing around, getting up and getting to school, and she has to go twice and it takes a long time. She's not back till 9 o'clock. And then, but she's got a nanny. So we all think, okay, but I've been told that it's now her mother again, that the last nanny left, and it's her mother who stands in for being a nanny because nobody else wants to. Now, I haven't got that absolutely certain, but that's it. And I'm sure that that's right, because I think she's getting worse and worse and worse, and how she speaks and how she responds to something and what she thinks of herself. And this conversation was not going to be just about her and what she's doing. You want something interesting, and it isn't. It's so dull, it's so boring, it's so petty, and it's all about her amazing confidence in herself, which actually isn't confident, because she wouldn't be like that if she was confident. She would be helping people and standing up and wanting to get people to know some of the things she's done and how they could do well. No, it's all about her. But she's fed up with making something happen now, isn't she? She's fed up. And I think the whole thing of not wearing any makeup was also to show how unfortunate she is, and things don't work out for her, but she tries so hard, but nobody listens. I think that to look like that, which made her look absolutely dreadful, but was deliberate there to show that, she's got no time even to put on makeup.
Angela, look, we've just checked. We've got to blow our own trumpet sometimes. Look, even though Jamie Kern-Lima's interview has been the most talked about all around the world, it's had more publicity than any podcast, 277,000 views in 3 days, Angela, which is obviously good, but given this has been plugged everywhere, our show, Angela, look at that, 349,000 views. So you see there, 277,000 for the actual interview.
Aren't we lucky?
349,000 for us. So thank you so much for everyone who's been watching. And by the way, Angela, I should say that for people who want the first access to our Royal Uncancelled after show every weekday, the best thing to do is sign up to my Substack, www.outspoken.live. It also means that you can keep in direct communication with me. It protects me against big tech censorship. It's a really important platform. www.outspoken.live. Angela, I just want to ask you... Oh, sorry, you come in, Angela.
Yeah, I just want to say something about our king.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. So he had the big well, it wasn't an announcement, was it? It was a very personal statement this week. It appeared on all of the front pages, and it was a bit worrying because he used this quote from Dame Deborah James. Now, I knew Dame Deborah James, but she obviously died of wonderful woman, Balbe, but she died of terminal cancer. What do you make of it, Angela?
Well, I think that he doesn't necessarily think that the cancer is going to kill him. I think that he really appreciated her courage and that she's positive all the way through. I think there's a slight difference between that. And I think that his way of opening up, no other king has ever done that. George VI didn't even know he had cancer, so it wasn't even mentioned. But for him to want to show people that it is frightening, that it is difficult, but that you can, with all the people around you, be helpful and let them know how to manage it somehow. And I think that it was absolutely extraordinary that he did that. It's incredibly brave and incredibly kind. And to talk about his own feelings and that he was frightened and that it was very difficult. But he's not too bad. He's getting better. I think whatever happens, he's a marvelous king. And this is a wonderful example of giving. He had 500 people there. And I'm sure he would speak to virtually everyone. He usually does. And that he wanted to show that he could help people rather than poor me, poor me, poor me. And I think we should be jolly pleased that we've got a king like that.
And Angela, we're just looking at these pictures of Dame Deborah James with Prince William and her family. Do you remember he went to visit it was days, I think, before she died.
He was amazed by her as well. I mean, I think everybody is amazed by the courage that she had and how she dealt with her child and all that sort of thing. She was absolutely amazing. Would make you cry because she was so strong.
Well, I know. And her final words which Charles obviously quoted, were find a life worth enjoying, take risks, love deeply, have no regrets, and always, always have rebellious hope, which is just beautiful, isn't it? So it was a very emotional moment for the king.
It is, and I think that will help him to know that he has been able to help people. And I think if you think that, I know that Queen Camilla, who I also wrote a biography for, what she said before she got married was that she was always going to be there for him, to be the rock, because she thought that Prince Philip did absolutely brilliantly for Queen Elizabeth. And she wanted to do the same. That was very, very important, not take over from him. And I think that was exactly what she's done, because I could notice little bits of Camilla there at the event, that, you know, what she really cares about, that she is right there for him. And that's exactly wonderful help for him, as much as can be done.
Angela Levin, beautifully put. Thank you so much, and we will speak next week. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.